So if you're watching every wild card prediction video out there, then you kind of notice one thing. You notice that virtually almost everybody is taking the Chicago Bears. And that is a very bad thing if the business model of Las Vegas is depending on not having everybody's 5, 6 leg parlay hit. So, what are we talking about? Let's face it, the Chargers going to win. They're the favorite. The Texans, all likelihood, are going to win for anybody who knows anything about football. The other game that everybody seems all over the wrong team. There's one game in both conferences where everybody's going to jump on one team and then everybody acts all surprised when they win. So these two teams that everybody's going to act all surprised about is the Jaguars and the Packers. But the NFL wants the Packers to win. You can tell they want the Packers to win. You can tell that they're scripting the Jordan Love ultimate revenge game. You can tell that this is coming a mile and miles and miles away, except for 99% of the public. And now you think about it. Well, yeah, the Rams are playing on the short week. They played their starters, but Carolina played their starters too. It's only a one-day difference. That virtually doesn't mean anything. Now the Packers rested everybody. They virtually have 2 weeks of rest. It's like having a bye in the playoffs. And now the Eagles rested their starters and they're not playing on the short week on Saturday. Instead, it's the Bears. Now, Eagles, they get the same kind of advantage, but what fucks over the Bears is they played their starters wanting to secure the number 2 seed. They're not playing on Sunday. They're not playing on Monday. They're playing on a very, very short week. They're giving every advantage possible to the Packers, including these little cheese flags. You see these little cheese flags? They're going to turn into cheese flags. They're going to be in favor of the Packers. Now, most favorites will win, right? I think most people who are thinking logically, they're not going to get suckered into the Steelers. Jimbo, now, what you're saying is backed up by anecdotal evidence. Basically, anecdotal evidence is what I see. So every prediction, they're going Chicago. But that's the nature of rivalry games. They're not supposed to be predictable. Biggest example is Mike Krzyzewski's final game. They're gonna send him off with the national championship. They're gonna beat North Carolina in the Final Four. Mike Krzyzewski's gonna cut down the nets. He's a national champion. He retires a national champion. But what happened? His last game was against North Carolina, the big underdog, and they upset Duke. And everybody was predicting Duke to win that game. If everybody's predicting the Chicago Bears, this is going to be another classic Bears-Packers game where the underdog does win. And everybody starts speaking about Jordan Love's greatest revenge after the Bears aimed at his head. It's entirely too predictable. Jordan Love's going to protect the ball, and basically the Bears have a garbage defense other than, getting turnovers against, you can do well with turnovers against sub-500 teams in the regular season, but you're not going to get away with that in the playoffs. It's not like they forced Green Bay to commit any turnovers in their 2 previous games. So the Bears definitely got exposed. They definitely got exposed. And, it's the Bears. They're going to make the very timely turnover in the game. What we're talking about, is Trayvon Diggs going to be the hero? Well, we don't know yet. We don't know yet if he's going to start. they're thinking about starting Trayvon Diggs, but hey, he could make an interception in the number one, number two spot, or you could hypothetically get an interception with limited snaps playing in the slot. So he could still get interception, but it doesn't necessarily mean he has to start to get the interception. It could even happen in the slot. So yeah, it seems like he's that kind of guy. Uh, everybody was talking about Darren Sharper, and it was Tracy Porter that got all the key interceptions. He intercepted Brett Favre, and he got the key interception against Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. So, Tracy Porter was his unsung hero, and this fourth wide receiver on the Giants, David Tyree, ends up being the key hero. So there is going to be that unsung hero on the Packers. People talk about well, they don't have a number one wide receiver. Basically, how they construct their wide receiving corps is that not one guy is going to be the main option you look to throw to every week. It could be any given wide receiver based on their individual characteristics that separates each other from their teammates. That's basically how they construct their wide receivers. It's a wide receiver room that has a bunch of various strengths across a key set of individuals. And now remember Ben Johnson, he's going to look like a big mug. So remember he says, I look forward to beating Matt LaFleur 2 times a year. Ben Johnson, he was being Rex Ryan. He was running his mouth at the start of the year. He basically, he didn't do nothing. He's already talking his mouth in the press conference before the season. He said, I look forward to beating Matt LaFleur 2 times a year. Now, what is going to happen is in a span inside 30 days, he's going to lose twice to Matt LaFleur. So these comments are going to come back to bite his ass when he loses in the first round of the playoffs. I remember the Steelers wide receiver. And now if you say his name, I'm going to be like, oh, right, that was that guy. Before the Steelers played the Browns in the playoffs, right? The Steelers wide receiver was saying, basically, the Browns were nobodies. We're not scared of them. We've been there before. We're going to whip their ass. Now, what happened after the Steelers wide receiver opened his mouth and said that the Browns are easy? We're not worried about them. The Cleveland Browns spanked them. So let me dig that up in case if you forgot. So I'm going to search Steelers wide receiver. We're going to beat the Browns. They're going to be easy. It's the Bears that are opening their mouths, basically. I'm talking about before the season. I remember it vividly. But he said they were easy. Sometimes when things go back 5-6 years ago, they don't immediately pop up on Google, Anyway, I maybe it was Smith Schuster that said it. Maybe I remember. Do I remember? Aha, there it is. There it is. 8 minutes left. I'm watching Roma and Lecce. What did he say? He said, I think they're still the same Browns team I play every year. I think they're nameless gray faces. They have a couple good players on their team, but at the end of the day, I don't know. The Browns is the Browns. And then the Steelers went on to get their fucking ass kicked. I think they were losing as much as 21-0. This was in 2021. So the timing of comments, it was at the beginning of the year, Ben Johnson. So yeah, don't think for a second that this 5-6 leg parlay you think you're going to hit in the playoffs. It's going to be easy just like that. When everybody picks one side to win, we all know what happens. The referees start calling it the other way. Jordan Love surprises everybody. Yeah, I think mostly over 70% of everybody's taking the Bears to win. Las Vegas gets a win on Saturday. They get a win on Saturday. I think the games that are going to be easy for the public, I think. Well, who knows where the point spread's going to lie? I think the Panthers are garbage. Maybe the Rams have got the film all set, I think. But public's going to win on the Eagles. I guess some people will be on San Francisco, but I think it's easy. The Eagles are going to win. I think the Patriots should cover the spread. I think this Chargers offensive line that it's too much. I think it's too much. Yep. Nothing but NBA going on. We can't wait till football. I mean, I get tuned down to NBA, and quite frankly, NBA season don't start until after the Super Bowl, anyways. He tries to slap the ball out of his hands. There's a fight going on. Oh boy. Not this midweek soccer. It's a midweek Italian football. Premier League plays tomorrow and Thursday. But yeah, the key thing about Sunday is that the defense is going to win over the Bills. The Bills' offensive line is garbage, and they're not going to give Jacksonville a Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to beat the Patriots. I mean, I get sick and tired of people saying the Broncos and Patriots are frauds. They're just the best teams in the AFC this year. They deserve their place. They got in there not relying on the quarterback to win all the time. I think these teams, they start to get too reliant on the quarterback. Ravens got too reliant on the quarterback. They thought they could ignore aging spots on the roster. The Bengals, so let's just roll it and let's outscore everybody, right? And well, I think in Patrick Mahomes' case, I think everybody was just, they were all tired and they're just all tired and they were frauds a year before. Maybe they didn't get as many calls as this year. They got a lot of referee help in the regular season. Well, the Chiefs are certainly a fraud this year. Maybe they were declining last season, but they got help because of the refs. Even that BS ball spot that kind of screwed the Bills in the AFC Championship game. It was a terrible ball spot, but it was done deliberately on purpose because they wanted Kansas City. Just think about it. A Lions team playing for nothing. They had nothing to play for. They still lost. They still lost against them. They still lost against them. They still lost. I mean, I think the real reason why the NFL screwed the Rams against the Seahawks is they know the Seahawks are the better matchup for the Packers. That's the real reason. They knew that Seahawks are just a mitigated turnover machine on offense. It doesn't matter if you have Micah Parsons. It doesn't matter. The Lions, what they do without Aiden Hutchinson, they still went 15-2. But their problem was their entire defense was injured. But they still won games without Aiden Hutchinson. So it could still be done. But they don't have the magnitude of injuries that the Lions had last year. Lions still won every week, even without Aiden Hutchinson. So it can absolutely still be done. Yeah, I will. I'll be home for that. It may be low scoring, but I think Jordan Love will probably get a multi-passing touchdown game. it's kind of hard to get 3 touchdowns. You want to stay balanced. Maybe Josh Jacobs, he's been a big part of your offense, so maybe he does get a touchdown. Yeah, maybe 28-24, honestly, 28-24. But who the hell knows what the final score is going to be? What's the weather going to be? I think the game's going to be very close and under 5 minutes, and the Bears are going to find a way to fuck it up some way. A key drop, a misread by Caleb Williams, or a baffling play call by Ben Johnson. It's not the playoffs without mitigated drama. So I think the Bears are going to find a way to really fuck themselves over inside of 4 minutes. A key fumble there, right? They were lined up in a single back, and then the fourth down they fumbled it. This was in overtime, so you never know what can happen in Packers Bears. When Jay Cutler got injured, it seems like the Packers were going to walk their way to a victory, but then that backup quarterback, he led them back. It was 21-14. The Bears were inside the 30 or inside the 20, and then the Packer defense stopped them. Game over, 21-14. Packers hold on to beat the Bears and their backup quarterback after Jay Cutler got injured. So this is the nature of Packers Bears. It's a psyop. It's a fraud. It's a Sam. They're not letting a fraud like Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl. Too many people are going to bet on the Seahawks. They know what they are doing. But hidden knowledge discovery is knowing that the Seahawks have the second most giveaways in the NFL. So why are the Seahawks going to fail to make it? They turn over the ball too much. And they've beaten too many frauds this year, quite frankly. They've beaten too many frauds. Yeah, Lions defense was certainly crap this year. Their defense, yeah, Packers beat the Lions twice. The Bears lost the Lions twice. I mean, you're just not going to beat the Packers the second time around when you needed an onside kick and a fluke lucky fourth down conversion. I mean, let's be real right here. The Packers are just simply the better team than the Bears, and they have the experience edge. Experience in big games for Jordan Love and for Matt LaFleur. They have playoff experience. Factors like that. 0 playoff games combined as a head coach this time, and Ben Johnson is a known choker in the playoffs. He already choked away 2 playoff games. He's going to be ready to choke again. But Jaden Daniels is going to come away out of this draft as the much better quarterback. He is going to have much more playoff wins than Caleb Williams. It has to be Jaden 2, Caleb 0. No ifs or buts. If the Commanders have a comeback year next year and the Bears are a one-and-done situation, then they fucked up and they picked the wrong quarterback, and he was only doing well because he is being coddled. He is being told what to do by Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is telling Caleb where to throw the ball because he can't process the reads. This is why he struggled against the Packers. Caleb is a system like a college quarterback. They can only do what their coach tells them what to do. They don't know how to process the information. I'm not the only person saying the quarterbacks today can't process the information. Tom Brady even said that quarterbacks today, they rely too much on athletic ability. Caleb Williams, tremendous athletic ability, but he cannot process the information. You're just going to have to do a little bit more without your head coach, especially in a playoff game. There's no doubt the NFL is scripted if Trayvon Diggs ends up making 2 interceptions this playoffs. Sam Darnold is a turnover machine. Caleb, he don't turn it over. But he did already throw an interception against the Packers the first game that they played. So he already threw an interception against the Green Bay Packer defender. Did they just score here, or are they showing a replay? was just a knockout punch. It was already 2-0. The knockout punch was already there. Oh, no, they're just showing a replay. There's 1 minute left. I just had the under for this game because Roma, they're the 1-0 team. They can only win 1-0. So, I under 2.5 goals. It's 2-0 Roma. They're a garbage 1-0 team. Hopefully Juventus are in the Champions League over Roma. Maybe I'll go live for Arsenal-Liverpool too. I'll definitely be here for the Monday game. I'll definitely be here for the Saturday night game. Everybody, we all can agree the Panther game is going to be, maybe it'll be a good game for one quarter, but the Rams are going to rout the Panthers. I don't care what nobody says. Bryce Young is garbage. Bryce Young is garbage. Will the Bears fans cry about the NFL screwing them with the scheduling? Hopefully not. They're just simply, they led for, well, the very last millisecond of the game, that was the Bears' only lead. So really, they haven't even led. They did not even have a lead against the Packers for even 2 seconds all season long. And still, they needed the onside kick in overtime. Did they? If it was for the onside kick, the Packers, they would have had the lead for every single minute against the Bears this season. But you see, if it was really slanted towards the Bears, Big Daddy would simply have held on to win and beat the Bears. But now they want the public to think that the Bears are taking over. So that's why they had the onside kick. That's why they had the overtime, because the narrative entering the game is not that Green Bay is simply going to roll over Chicago again. Now they set up that regular season game, the scripted onside kick, to set up the narrative that the Bears are taking over and they roaring. Well, yeah, just watch Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is a top 3 running back in football, and he is a lot more rested because he's playing through injuries, and they limited his carries against the Ravens too. They limited his carries. So that's a very, very fresh running back. How many carries did he have against the Ravens? He only had 4 carries against the Ravens. So Josh Jacobs, he basically had 2 weeks of rest. He is as fresh as can be. 2 weeks of rest. 2 weeks of rest. Only 4 carries against the Ravens. All the ingredients are adding up to the Green Bay victory. The 2 weeks of rest, the revenge factor for Jordan Love, a well-rested running back for 2 weeks, the playoff experience for LaFleur, and Jordan Love, it gives him the advantage. The Bears defense gives up a lot of yards. The Packers don't turn over the ball. They're a great matchup. The Bears are a great matchup for the Packers, as demonstrated by only leading for basically 1 second for both of their playoff matchups. The Las Vegas factor is going the Packers' way. People can't give me a good reason why the Bears are going to win when all set of pertinent facts are laid out right in front of you on the big screen. They don't add context to why the Packers lost every game the last 4 weeks. They whipped the Bears' ass. They did a great job of being great company men to be sure that the Ravens and Steelers are playing for the division in the last week of the season, and then they rested their starters. They rested their starters the final week of the season. Number 7 seeds are going to be 2-7 against number 2 seeds. They'll be 2-7. Yeah, listen, listen. This ain't supposed to be believable. But the NFL is they are sending a message. Why else would they tell everybody on Sunday Night Football that every Packer championship winning quarterback, they won their first title at 27 years of age, and long and behold, voila, Santa Clara and Gematria equals 27. How do you explain that one? Yeah, the 49ers championships were all scripted. Every one of their Super Bowl was rigged because it symbolized the gold rush. San Francisco has Gematria 50. They started 5-0 in Super Bowls. It's all explained through Gematria. San Francisco equals 50. They started 5-0 in Super Bowls. It can only be explained through Gematria. But the 49ers Super Bowl drought is represented by the fact that the gold rush is over. No more gold mines can be found because those who found the gold mines first, they got the gold. So there are no more gold mines to be found. The gold rush is over. That's why the 49ers are not winning Super Bowls, because it is a symbolic representation of the California gold rush of 1849. That's the real reason why they not winning. They could have had their hands on the gold mine, but Patrick Mahomes went to the Chiefs and he beat them twice in the Super Bowl. That's why they were never, ever supposed to win. But most people had 49ers beating Chiefs before Super Bowl 54 was played. It was roughly 50-50 on 49ers and Chiefs in Super Bowl 58. So there are not many people, based off of random probability, predicted the Chiefs to beat the 49ers both times. But I was one of the few that did predict the Chiefs to win both of their Super Bowls against the 49ers. It was roughly 50. Most people had the Eagles. Most commentators on Fox predicted the Eagles. But I went with the Chiefs. Yeah, too many injuries, but it's the home Super Bowl, Jinx, key phrase, outside of pandemic years. City of Santa Clara would lose money if the 49ers play in the Super Bowl. They have to come away with a profit where the revenue of people coming into the city is greater than the associated costs of hosting the game. So if you wonder why all these little coincidences happen to these teams when they host a Super Bowl, it's because it has to do with ensuring that there are two sets of people from outside the region that are coming in that are allowing money to flow in. Yeah, the Packers are definitely going to win. They're definitely going to win. 9-6 is Gematria Freemason. It's Gematria Pittsburgh Steelers. They last Super Bowl. That's why they're 9-6. That's why they're 9-6. Bears fall to 11-7. Illinois is 117. The game is going to be played at Illinois. I wonder what 10-7 would represent, but definitely LaFleur can improve to 4-5 in the playoffs. Illinois is 45 in reverse. Maybe 45 in regular reduction. But Bears is 45. LaFleur improves to 4-5 in the playoffs. It's 4 wins in 9 games. Think Caleb Williams equals 49. So there you go. Green Bay, G's the 7th letter. They're the 7th seed. The Bears' 7th loss of the season. The Bears would only win 2 games against NFC North. 2 wins in 7 games against the NFC North. This is easy. Packers can be 5-4 on the road. This is a lock. This is a lock. They don't show the tie in the away win-loss column, but 5 wins and 4 losses. Love equals 54. Illinois equals 54. In abbreviations, this is easy. This is easy. This is as easy as it gets. I don't know. I was never in on the Ravens before the playoffs. I think you had your bet on the Ravens, and it kind of fucked you over yesterday. But this is why I made money even on the cash out, because I had Inter Miami winning the cup and Real Madrid beating Barcelona. So I cashed out long ways before the Ravens were even out of the playoffs. Why? Because I recognized they going nowhere. Yes, revenge, 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 revenge. Michael Jordan, Chicago, 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 Chicago. Michael Jordan, Jordan Love. It is a ritual. Hey, it is a ritual. The Bears were only promised the NFC North with the Pope. They're not promised any playoff success. They were only promised the division. The Packers' 39th playoff win in team history. I doubt Oregon are going to beat Indiana. Did you see what Indiana did against Alabama? Indiana is going to take it. Fernando Mendoza is from Miami. He's going to play in the national championship game at Miami. Indiana going to be playing for a national championship. It's just, he's destined to win the national championship. He's destined to be playing the national championship. Was anybody going to keep Cam Newton from playing the national championship? Indiana are going to take it. They whipped Alabama. They whipped Ohio State. Texas Tech on nobodies. Dante Moore is just a running quarterback, playing quarterback. I doubt he's even good. Indiana are going to feast on that guy. And Texas Tech were nobodies. Big 12 on nobodies. Texas Tech were not even among the contenders. This was an easy game for Oregon. Alabama was no easy game after they came back from 17 on the road at Oklahoma. You see, Indiana is the more battle-tested team. Indiana is going to come away with the win.